to record this. Okay, let me download Zoom on my Android to help. Hey, I'm live recording this. Don't worry, I will send it in a PM. Yeah, I can send this to everybody if you want. Or maybe I'll just stream it on. Should I stream it on YouTube? What should I do? No, private. I don't want to get sued and shit. You know? Once you go through a lawsuit, you always worry about that, you know. Even if you kind of win.
Yeah.
Oh, sideways call. It's a sideways call. Sideways. All right, well, I want to keep going. We're just going to go. Let's just do it. So we were talking about how you can use a very simple quality rating system that I'm about to give that can help you as an investor, swing, position, or day trader have better entries, because that's what we all want. We want better entries. And this is the quaternity of a good trade. It's a very simplistic foundational tool. Obviously, if you want to get better at this, there's like a lot more odds and factors, but this is a basic tool that can help you improve where you're at. And it should, at the bare minimum, be the foundation, even if you have a more advanced system. So let's draw it. I might not be able to like really write on it, but just imagine you have a quadrant. 1, 2, and so in this upper left quadrant right here, we have the foundation of what should be the bare minimum of any good trade. And at the bare minimum of any good trade is trade location. And that is in the upper left. You have to have good trade location. So just off the top, how many people think like if we bought right here, this would be good trade location on this time frame? Probably everybody, right? Because it's at a low extreme of day. Like if you have to buy here for whatever reason, if you're a psycho day trader and you want to get involved in this, or if you just didn't grab any Bitcoin and all of a sudden it's pulling back and you have a feeling that it's not going to break this moving average and go down, then you buy the low extreme of day. And I can teach you how to have the patience to do that. The only way you have the patience to do that is to anticipate it prior rather than get psyched out by the intraday price movement. But that doesn't mean we don't count the intraday price movement. The intraday price movement is to the right of the trade location. Just one second. I'll be right back. No, I'm just kidding. Trade location. Trade location is to the left, and to the right is the intraday control, which is basically the price action intraday, the momentum off the top. 1 second. I got a client call me. I'm so distracted. I'm going to come back and I'm going to tear it up. Hang on a second. Click on join audio. It's really okay. Yeah, you're helping her. Okay, cool. I'm going to just pause this for a second. I'll be right back. Okay. So in this quadrant 1, we had trade location, the bare minimum, the thing that you have to have bare minimum to even consider getting in. To the right of that is what the intraday control. Who's in control? The bulls, the bears. Are we neutral? Are we sideways? That is basically the character of price intraday. Are we trending? Are we balancing? Are we creeping? Are we going? Are we we can get into all that. There's nuances to this. Under that, in quadrant 3, actually, you know what? I want to go to quadrant 4 because I already talked about that. In quadrant 4, we'll go 1, trade location, 2, the intraday control. Who's in control? The bulls or bears get intraday price movement. And down here is the larger time frame. The larger time frame. The larger time frame in this context, obviously, guys, your pros is up. It's the last, this is the trend energy. bam. If we come down into a larger time frame support, which obviously the moving average is also touched, but you get double intraday, larger time frame, double bottom. Did it break structure? Boom. We're not going to break down to this 200. This is holding beautifully, right? We had a pause day. I had this much information. It came down into a larger intermediate time frame fractal into the blue moving average. It was a reload opportunity, but I didn't actually want to make a sideways up call because of the resistance above and basically quadrant 2, which is basically the intermediate time frame resistance, which is, you know, that recent sell-offs. That's the character of price on this day. So after we get to the 1 trade location, 2 intraday control, 4 larger time frame, we go to, I'm just going backwards. Hey, that's how we do it. 3 sustained momentum. The sustained momentum. That's the character of price. Do we have enough energy on the day? So yes, while the larger time frame is bullish, when we break down here, does the short-term balance breakdown represent it? Let's zoom in. When in doubt, zoom out, but when in sin to enter, zoom in. We have a short-term price action breakdown, bam, right? That's the short term. It's now coming into the intermediate time frame. Last couple of weeks, double bottom, boom, boom, with the moving average confluence, boom. If I put up an indicator for you indicator lovers, pop, pop, boop, hook from extremes, bam, boom, general availability environment, pause day. We're not going to have an up call because we're coming up into this moving average yellow, right? And the sustained momentum based on this fear that just happened is too short term. As we come up into the short term, all the people that bought here are going to sell to break even. We're going to go sideways down. So I made a sideways call. We'll go back to the quaternity. Oops, I can't. What is it saying? Hurry here. Oh, you're talking to him. I keep thinking people are asking me questions. Maybe go to private Telegram. Yeah, this daily call. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's why it was a sideways, because the sideways up would imply that you couldn't short, but today there's actually a good short for you short lovers. Trade the low a day, low extreme a day. I'm not going to talk about execution today or tactics. Well, actually, I'm talking about tactics. I'm not going to talk about overall strategy, but and the high day, right? But there was no lower entry because this was like a day traders kind of thing, and you had to be able to have multiple time frames, reliable data feeds, and the right psychology. And I can't really recommend day trades to anyone who doesn't have basic risk management skills. Right. So that's why it was a sideways, not a sideways up. So hopefully Sabril can hear me. I'm just going to keep going again. I like actually repetition. I do things over and over again sometimes. So Sabril, hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, you can give me a shout out in the channel, but I'm going to keep flowing. We talked about a quality rating system called the quaternity of a good trade location. This doesn't matter if you're whatever time frame you trade on, year, 5 year, 1 year, holder, day trader, scalper, you still want a good entry. Just feels good on the day, right? You have to enter on the day, so this will help you whether to get in or not. The foundation of any good trade is trade location. So that goes in quadrant 1 here, trade location, bam. If you have a trade and when we go over these 4 qualities, quality 1, trade location, let me just write them out and then I'll go over each one so I don't, if I get distracted by a call or something, I won't lose my train of thought. Quadrant 2 is intraday control. Like, yeah, and I'll tell, it's just basically who's in control of the day. Quad 3 sustained, let's just call it sustained momentum. We'll go to quad 4 and we'll call that oh yeah, the most important, larger time frame, guys. The larger time frame is the dominant one you guys should all be caring about, because you guys are all huddlers, including me. But if you want to talk about income producing trades, we can talk. Okay, good, she can hear. Make sure mute. Okay, good. So we're going to talk about a really simple quality rating system that you should have at the bare minimum to enter a trade or not. I do this even though I have a more complex system, but this is definitely has to be there. This is the bare minimum. And it's a really powerful tool, and I'll get into why. You're welcome, glad to help. All right. we go here, quad. Let's get rid of larger time frame. So there's no confusion. Oh shit. Bam. Bam. Quadrant 1 up here, trade location. Quadrant 2, intraday control. Quadrant 3, sustained momentum. Quadrant 4, larger time frame. I'm going to go, after I tell you the next thing, then I'm just going to go into Q&A and we'll talk about each one because I don't know what, I got to ask you guys the questions now. Or you ask me too. And so if you have all four of these, it's just Jones and start Jones and you're entering without thinking. This takes your emotion out of it because we're extremely emotional. It's a myth that you can't trade without emotion. I mean, we're human beings. We're gonna have emotions every single second. Sorry. The trick is don't let your emotions influence your behavior, but be aware of them in an observer state. Step away from the computer when you go into a state, and just know you have multidimensional fractal states. That's why if we look at the markets from fractaling, we're kind of like basically looking at it from the purest perspective, because if you read anything fundamentally, which is awesome, and I do that too, but you risk that where you get the information is lying to you. Like you're risking that, oh, you trust leadership, but then they rug pull you. But at least with price, you're getting something pure. And if you can interpret it the right way, it won't lie to you. Sec. That's how we do it in fractal. That's right, Sean. So trade location, intraday control, sustained momentum, larger time frame. You have all four, you enter. It's amazing. 4 out of 4, like 80% odds and up. Okay, if you have 3 out of 4, also enter. It's just, it's missing something. But if it has trade location and any of these 3, it's better than if it doesn't have trade location and these 3. You can still enter on both of those 3. Okay, now what if it has 2 out of 4? Well, it depends what 2, but if it has like trade location and the intraday control, that's a decent trade, guys. Because even if it has 50-50 odds, if you have your risk management right with the right stop loss, even if you have a 2-to-1 reward to risk, if you win 50% of the time on $2, you make $1. And if you lose 50% of the time on $1, you lose 50 cents. So over a large enough number of trades, on average, you're making 50 cents times your trade frequency. You can really compound a day trading account and then take your short-term profits every 3 quarters. And day trading is awesome because it makes you better huddler, it makes you better enter, reloader. It's professional, and no one's lying to you. And if you take a loss, you have to reflect back to the market to handle it. So there's all psychology things and reflection, and you don't have to sit there like a slave every day. Like I go outside every day. I try to spend as much time outside as I can. I put on trade. I said I'd forget it with this bot I have, and then I just let it automatically ride. And even when I was in the hospital, I had these 2 runners on. So at least like I was like, oh, maybe I'll make some profits. But of course I couldn't execute in time. But I still exited recently, and it was okay. So yeah, quality rating system. Let's just say you have 1 out of 4. You only take it if it's trade location. So that has to be there. You see trade location is, and that's why it's in quad 1, number 1. If you had trade location on the larger time frame, and we just broke the intermediate time frame support and the short-term sustained intraday controls bullish, and the larger time frame is bullish because we broke a big balance like structure, then we have time frame alignment, and you can get even more aggressive. And when it's pulling back into a good trade location with a fib ratio on a double bottom, then you can get more aggressive. When it's in the middle of the range, you have shitty trade location, so you don't enter at all. Unless you're the permission slip is that, hey, I don't give a fuck, I gotta go to work, it's decent enough, I'm holding for you. I'm like, oh, go ahead. Then you can just dollar cost average as soon as you get money, as soon as you can. So all that talk about whether to get into theta or now is ridiculous. Just buy as soon as you can, as quickly as you can, as much as you can, as aggressively as you can. If you don't have huge loads, you can wait all day and get in and day trade it like I was doing. So now I'm going to open up the chat, and I think we could talk about this little quality rating system if it makes sense. You have any questions, and basically help you like what not to do, and how to reload in the right way and whatnot. And like people were asking, let's just go to theta for an example. Where's theta? Yeah, everybody can unmute and ask questions if you got a question. Like we're going free for all now.
It is probably a good time to buy Theta now. It has retracted.
Theta has retraced to 11. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how far it's gonna. I mean, it has better trade location when it was up here. It has better location here, better trade location, but it's like, where do you draw the fib ratio? It's like, what time frame? I mean, this is just so extended. I mean, even if it came down here, it's like it's still like just dollar cost average into it. It's like, okay, let's say even if it breaks on down in a couple of days and touches this move, I don't think it will, but if it does, in the long run, if this thing's going to like $888 by the end of the year, like a lot of experts are saying, the amount of institutional capital in this is, I mean, they need this to succeed, both the good guys and the bad guys. It's like buying Bitcoin when it was under 10 bucks. Are you going to say, damn, I shouldn't have bought it at 11. I should have fucking waited until it was 7. I mean, maybe if you're a trader, but you're going to be so happy that you bought something at $11, a lot of it, and now it's at 3,000, or even as Bix Weir is going to say in 5 years, 10,000. So you can be a future millionaire right now. Just start dollar cost averaging everything you can into it. There's a reason why I don't have hardly anything in my bank account. Yeah, everything's in crypto, buddy. Everything. Even in the blockchain.
I still got to keep some in the bank account.
No, I mean, I do to pay the bills, but if you have a large amount, they can seize it. I've done it to my enemies before. It's really dangerous.
You know, like I say, it's different for you guys because, you know, with the regulations and stuff, it's still difficult for me to get like a crypto debit card. So,
well, can't you hook up your your crypto exchange to your bank, or is it's outlawed there? You can't do
that. I haven't tried the bank yet.
You got to actually find a guy that works there that's going to be cool with you, like somebody you know. Because I have, you know, when they don't report anything, you're just doing business there, and they like it because you're bringing them cash.
Yeah, I'm. What I think I'm doing is gonna do is Fidelity, that's in the U.S. I think they filed with the SEC to accept crypto, Bitcoin. So, and they allow persons from the Bahamas to have Fidelity accounts. So I may just make that trip just to go and open up an account and just basically either send crypto to that bank because it's already crypto friendly now. So yeah, I think I'll just do that when that time comes.
Yeah. There's actually a crypto bank that's, if you hold 10% of whatever up to 300 million, which they insure in their coin Dero, they give you like 13% a year and they insure it. And you can like get great loans and interest against stuff. And it's like, wow, you get to insure my crypto. Like if I lose all my, you know, nothing's insured, but I'm telling you, everything's moving over there. So I'm excited to be part of it.
Would they allow persons like me to create an account?
I don't know what the minimum is. What were you thinking about opening? I think they would, of course, anybody that has, yeah. I mean, sometimes some banks will let you open up a checking account for $100. I've never used this, but my buddy was using it. And he was saying his ministry gets great, blah 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 blah, and only 10% insures up to 300 million. But I don't know if they have a minimum. What were you thinking about doing?
I don't know. I probably need to see what option is available. I need something flexible that's gonna also maybe collect interest. Probably even if I just start with $100 or so, just open up an account and just deposit small, make small deposits and stuff, and just let it accumulate and just build up.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this later. Anybody have any questions about that quality rating system?
None from me.
All right. Well, good. That's all I really got. That was kind of what I wanted to do today. So we could just hang out, talk, whatever.
Now with the bot, I'm assuming the bot is way better than the crypto trading bot, better than doing like manual tradings where you create to buy order and then the stop limit order and stuff like that. I'm assuming.
Oh man, it's once you use up the trading bot, you never go back. It's like basically pasting a text message in a Telegram chat, and it takes care of all your orders for you. Like I'll put 4 limit orders out at a time. I'll go all in on market, so not the entry, unless I put a resting order. But most of the time, I go to market ahead of time, right while I'm watching it.
Uh-huh.
I have, like, 3 exits and a stop loss, and imagine trying to put all. You have to manually put those. I don't know, it's be a pain in the ass to do it on exchange. So yeah, it definitely shifts the game.
Okay.
So yeah, just so actually, you know what? I'll just do a quick little lesson here about this. So I mean, it's like if you don't have theta, it's like you have to be asking yourself, okay,
That video optimization thing you did, it looks, for me, it's really blurry. I don't know how it looks for everybody else.
I just undid it.
I gotta wait for it to, I guess, buffer or whatever.
But just going back to this example, I mean, it's just when you see patterns like this when you're going parabolic, there's really just there's no good real answer to it in terms of like, well, is this good trade location? I mean, in the short term, is this good trade location? Yeah, absolutely. The short term is the last couple of days. I mean, at least it's pulled back somewhat into this trend day, right? And if this trend day is going to hold, I mean, I'd like this to start consolidating. If it doesn't, right, and it breaks this trend day, then you got to be saying to yourself, okay, maybe this isn't just a normal pullback, and now it's going to be a steeper correction. Hey, what's up, Victor? We just did a quality rating system, but if no one has any questions, I don't know if we got time to go. Well, we do have time to go back if they're interested in it. But basically, we were talking about Emma entered the ADM. Okay, cool. Hello. We were just talking about whether if someone bought right here at 11.58, whether this would have good trade location. And I have to zoom in to see if we were at some kind of structure, but just from a larger perspective, obviously not. I mean, this could be the start of something that maybe dips back down to these moving averages a little bit if we get a little rested. I don't think so. I think theta is so bullish that things will just start going sideways, and we'll know a lot more is if this energy, this pure updated breakout parabolic, if today holds right here, then we could start consolidating, and that's actually becoming a bullish pattern. But if this turns into some kind of bearish engulfing pattern, and if tomorrow, the bulls don't come up on this short term, which I wouldn't necessarily want to be buying there either on a day trade. It's just not attractive at all. Just stay out of it. Who knows? It's almost like if then do this. But if it does break this, it brings this into question. If we break this, then this is not just going to be a pullback. Then we could have something a little steeper. But still, even such in the context of the big picture, it's still just nothing. But for an entry as part of the quaternity of the quality rating system, it's one important factor you should look for, which is trade location. Are we fading at a support or resistance zone, which I'll do a whole other lesson on that. That's a whole other game. After support or resistance zone, you have to ask yourself, okay, are we at what's the larger time frame context? Are we at a larger time frame key reference area? If you have both of these, that's 2 out of 4. That's a good trade. You should take it. You also have to ask, how much more movement do we have in the intermediate, short, and larger time frame? That's a sustained momentum. That's a lot of, you say, well, what would determine that? It's character of price. That's leg count. That's a lot of other things, a whole other thing. But at least you'll have these in place. So you can say, okay, well, if I had 3 out of these, I got 3 out of 4. And then the last thing you want to look at is just what's actually happening intraday. That's who's in control intraday. Are we in a directional day purely trending up like we had day yesterday, where it was so obviously by the character of price bullish based on the momentum, which in and of itself by definition is a short-term indicator, that the trade location became not the extreme low of day, which if you waited for the low of day at some point you would have never got in, but rather fading momentum to the downside, where some tool that you feel comfortable with can help you get in. That could be a fib ratio. or some kind of tool like I use a volume weighted average price or a midpoint, we can talk about that. But basically, trade location then therefore is dependent on the market context, which is dependent on day type. So if that's why little trading is a little more complicated than people think, because not one pattern fits all market conditions and day types, because there's infinite patterns. But this is clearly our super on a larger time frame, which would be quadrant 4, extremely bullish. And until this zone is violated, and if we can hold here, we can continue to actually consolidate, and we might even continue going before there's a steeper correction. Something like this, a climax. See, when I talk about the steeper correction, I'm not talking about these little reds on the way up into the trend leg count because it's still forming that are opportunities to buy, but that climax, which is the indication of a larger correction. So you don't keep fading against the trend. Oh, I'm going to buy this moving average. Oh, I'm going to buy there. You're just getting crushed. You're just getting crushed because you have a simplistic system that just buys a moving average instead of looking at the context. And then, okay, ignoring the moving average there, which is nothing, because given this character of price, the sustained momentum, a huge move from 0.33 here all the way to here, if I fib ratioed this, you're not at good trade location. Until at least you get to 0.618, because when you see something like this, a giant selling tail, a huge pattern that stands out visually, while these little red days were really short and concise and compact sideways red down days, this was a huge climax pattern, which had volatility consequences, taking out many buy orders, which are just triggering their stops. So all these traders are doing this. Meanwhile, the institutions that really move the market are just sitting there laughing, and boom, and then the people that are new to the market are getting crushed because they're fading a moving average because they bought some stupid course. What's up, guys? Just talking about market context and this quality rating system. So given how, what you can move, this client, you don't want to be buying here because the sustained momentum here, quadrant 3, would not get a point. You would not quality rate buying here if hey, Matt, is it a good time to buy here? No, because the momentum being questionable. You have multiple legs up. First of all, you have a V sideways dip go path. By the way, a lot of experts in when was this? This was like last May, whatever, or even sooner. It was June. I just want to teach you a pattern. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Bitcoin's done. We're gonna have another double pattern." Now, this is a V recovery pattern. I posted it in the Dollar Vigilante channel, and it came true. V sideways dip go pattern. You broke through. You never fade a V. This was obviously a huge V, larger time frame reversal pattern. As we're coming up, you never fade a creeping market. In the short term, as we're coming up into larger time frame resistance, you're triggering short-term stops. Let's see, I'll show you. Here's a good question. Let's say you had to make a daily call and you were here. What's up, y'all? We got Adrian. We got a V sideways dip go creep market. What's up? Strong sell-off here. We know this is a V sideways dip go pattern. So when everyone's saying it was going to go to 6,000, I was like, guys, it's a confirmed V sideways dip go. Yes, we could get short-term intermediate larger correction here because guess what? The quality rating system, where is it? Oh, do I got to draw it again? I can draw it again. Quality rating system should be a perfect quadrant. Quadrant 1, this is the larger time frame. The larger time frame does not get a 1 because you're at resistance. This is a larger time frame resistance pattern. It broke balance breakdown, huge volatility day, the biggest day ever. Everyone who bought here, who's jonesing when they get up here, is going to sell. It's going to trigger a lot of people that fade this shit. They don't understand this larger time frame, don't get a point here. and it goes boom, 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 and then you fade against a bad thing because it's not a pullback, um, even though the larger pattern from a zoomed out perspective is bullish still. The big picture time frame is bullish, but the intermediate time frame, because we're at this becomes bearish, and then the short term is neutral because you don't see any red candles yet. But when you see this, because you're expecting it the next day, you're not thinking up here, thinking, oh yeah, there's that down day that saved me from getting crushed. But what happened? Well, what happened during the down day? It went down, hit this thing, and buyers quickly brought it back up. So then the next day, you're thinking, okay, this is not. I mean, it's down, but it's not like they went down and it held down there. So the momentum was kind of like, woo, a little bit of a buying tail. So the next day you might be thinking, okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's in control. It's not as clear cut as we're going to break down all these candles because the buyer stepped in. But at least at this time frame had its play, and that quality rating system, we were at larger time frame, could have helped you. But yeah, the sustained momentum definitely is always getting a plus on this. This is a V sideways, you dip, go. You never fade against a creep. But then once you get to a larger time frame resistance zone in the short term, now it's not a pullback, but a larger intermediate time frame correction, which is a steeper pullback because this is a stronger selling tail pattern. Beauty, you don't have to read it. The charts tell you the truth. Hello. Never faded creep though. So once that plays out back to the moving average, then I get aggressive double bottom because larger time frame is bullish again because you're back. You have better trade location. That's quadrant 1. So you buy, but you're not aggressive when it's extended at resistance. You just sideline. You don't even have to short. You don't want to. V sideways dip go recovery pattern. I mean, I'm gonna say, like I called it in the channel back then. Dollar Vigilante. I'm like, hey guys, I'm just teaching you something that no one can lie to you about. When was this? This was oh, 2020. But at this point, it's like, actually, I take this back. This is I didn't call this back then. I called Bitcoin's V sideways dip go. I'm tripping. But you know what? I even forgot I was on theta. Because you know what? The patterns it doesn't matter because human behavior trades all markets. This is the same looking thing at Bitcoin. V sideways dip go, larger time frame. This was letting you know that, hey, maybe I'm not gonna sell all my position. This is normal. You're expecting this. So this will help you as an investor sit through this and not think, oh man, maybe I should get out. Well, no, because you expected a stronger reaction because in the short time frame, which is what you're being influenced by, like the last couple of days, this is going to have relevance. But in the big picture, it don't. So that'll help you hold longer. Be sideways, dip, go. But by here, it's just super extended. And it's not like you could have called this, but when you have the confirmation of it on a day like this, that changes the context. That's a super strong selling tail. It's a bearish engulfing pattern. It took out 1, 2, 3 days here. It closed lower. So in the next couple of days, you're not thinking, oh, I can't wait to buy there. You're thinking, okay, I can't wait to buy there on that red day. I can't wait to buy there. That's normal. That's normal. But on this, you're thinking, okay, because it took it out so much and we're super extended, now it's not just a little pullback. It could be the start of an intermediate time frame, intermediate time frame, slightly bigger pullback that might go back to this moving average. So you're just less aggressive here. On a day trade, if you're day trading it. And that's what happened. Boom. Now that you have better trade location because it got back down more, and it's at this moving average, and it's at this larger time frame thing, you go back to the quaternity. Then if you were going to make a call on the next day, if this is trade location, that gets a plus. If this is sustained momentum, I kind of have to give that during the day. I'm sorry, if this is sustained momentum, you have to say, hey, it went from here and it all the way down here. I mean, it's a decent 0.618 golden mean. It's at a moving. I'm getting aggressive there. Yeah, especially if I don't have a position, I might want to buy there. I don't care if I'm wrong on the day trade and it breaks down here. I'm okay with that because I was willing to take that trade because it had good trade location. And if you have 1 out of 4 and it's at good trade location, bare minimum, you take it. But this also had this also had the possibility that this was extended to the downside, exhausted. So what happened here? If you bought here the next day, you would have made a sideways up call. You would have profited on a day trade. You were right, because you would have got in at the extreme a day. You would have had your exits at this on the shorter time frame. It's way easier to see this launch down breakdown bar. And look, a selling tail happened. You would have got in and out. And you might say, "Oh, Matt, you were kind of wrong. That's not a great day." Really? Let's see. Let's see what you would have made on that day. I can't. I wish I could see what that is as a percent, but because I'm sharing the screen, it's blocking it. I'll tell you after. Because it's data, it might be like 6, 7, 8% or something. And if you have $100,000 trading account, at least you just made 8 grand on that day. I can't see what it is to tell you, but it's data. So if it went from 0.24 all the way to up to 0.299, see. Yeah, I mean, so it was a tradable reaction. That's what we're looking for. But the next day you're thinking, okay, well, they did go up, but then there was some selling. You might be like, I'm staying out. I don't give it. I don't want to let. I don't. This could chop around. I'm not interested. I caught this swing. I was happy. I used runners because I didn't care. See, that's what I do. I do this. I just catch the big fades and I just take profits into it. It's so stressful to try to play these little games. So I would have made a sideways call. It's just going to chop sideways. You could have made a sideways call and got in at the low of day, but this was more like a sideways up because it kind of closed up here. But a sideways call would have been profitable for you. Then it's having problems as it's moving up. So I guess I'm showing you how this daily call the next day can kind of help you do what not to do. You might have said, "Oh, I'm going to take that double bottom." Really? Would you fade a creep? I mean, in hindsight, we saw it, but if you were wrong, so you just took a small loss, 2%, but that changes the context. But at least now, as it's coming down, you have better trade location, which is why you had, because this was a balance, super breakdown, hit larger time frame, support, action, reaction. This is tough to trade because it's a really volatile market. But at least you can get in, like, when it's starting to creep down, you have good trade location. You might say, "Well, Matt, wouldn't it come down here?" Well, what I would tell you on this day, I would say, I think it's low odds that it's going to come down here. Look at the context. This is a strong move, changes the intermediate context, at least at this point, right? It was a bullish engulfing pattern. It took out a huge candle 2-3 days. By the time it comes up here, now this stronger intermediate time frame resistance becomes a problem on the short term. On the big picture, it's a confirmation that, okay, the big trend energy now has resumed itself. But for a trader, it matters. And at least if you're a huddler, it's not going to shake you out. Like, "Oh, I thought you saw this big candle and you're thinking you're just going to expect another big candle." No, because it's rare to get 2 trend days in a row. It's more rare. So you're like, plus we're into this pattern now. But it's less rare in steep up markets because there's no structure. Because imagine you might say, "Well, Matt, didn't you just say it was rare to get 2 trend days in a row?" I'm like, what's the context? We just broke out. It's less legs down and we have more structure to go. So you could have a sideways up call, bam. And then it gets exhausted and you're more cautious sideways or whatever, Then it's consolidating and it's actually easier to get in because now you can fade the lows of the day here because you have structure again. And it's actually a bullish pattern because this came all the way down here and then they came up here. So you're not thinking, "Oh, I can't, it's going to break down and touch this." You're thinking, "Oh, the next day it's sideways," because it needs time to play out and it's actually resting a correction in time, which is actually a bullish structure. And that, bam, really bullish, just like really bullish. Like any rest, people are just gobbling this up. Boom, boom, boom. Then traders come in, they're happy, too soon. Traders come in because it was a strong selling tail and a bearish engulfing pattern. It took out 2 days. You're not getting super excited as a trader to buy there. You're thinking like you would have here because it came here. It closed here. There's no tail. Took out 2 days. This took out shit. This is more extended. This isn't. You don't buy here. You don't wait. You're thinking, "Oh man, this could go down to here because it could be a intermediate correction." Once it starts to compress and slow down, it's even okay. "Oh wow, this might be stronger than it is," but I still don't want to get involved here as a trader. But keep in mind, this is only for day trading. This I'm showing you daily calls or how to get in, because if I think you should just start dollar cost averaging into this. Plus, what even date are we at? We're probably way back. We're just randomly picking days in theta. This is what we're doing, guys. Is we're back testing. You should just pick like random markets and start back testing stuff like this if you want to practice daily calls. It's really good stuff because it can help you on your timing and what not to do. And people can't lie to you and rug pull you because you can see the beauty and the harmony in the charts. Just keep going with it. I want to see some Pat. I want to see what we're doing. Well, I backed up quick on this now. See. Wow. Wow, that there was a guy on my channel that was actually buying at cents on the dollar since 2018 in Theta. He has like a lot. I call him something Rockefeller. But I didn't even know. I didn't even really even care about cryptos until 2017, but or even hear about Theta till this channel. But we're still early. I mean, Big Square saying it's going to 3,000, possibly even 10,000. Buying Theta now is like buying Bitcoin because this actually is a technology that's going to be everywhere, and it's it's fairly neutral. Like it's going to be like we might be running something on this on a Theta node next time, and then Sabril has a better connection. Like it's not inherently evil. Who cares? You made money at it. And you can hear it. We can all talk better. But yeah, the governments do want this to also succeed because they want to spy on us. Good, spy on this and pump it up for us too. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. But the fact that this, if we can close here, at least this energy is still in play. What's he saying? Yeah, I know. Send it to the moon, man. Do you guys think this is going to be listed on Coinbase?
Yeah, I think that may end up being the first exchange they probably target is to put that on Coinbase because I think Coinbase is mostly known.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I want to unmute Adrian. I don't see. Adrian, you were saying.
Oh yeah.
You were saying. I mean, you brought up a good point. I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of cool that there's such a low cap because it makes it more valuable what we have. But on the other hand, like I really want it listed on the American exchanges to pump it up. Like, what you don't think it will be, huh?
Oh yeah, no, I do believe it will be, but I mean, think about it. Binance had on stake like 33 million data just to be able to, I don't know, sell it or meet demand apparently because it was so high demand, and it's only a billion tokens out there, and over half the supply is already locked away in staking. So yeah, no, I do believe that Coinbase would list it. Like, why wouldn't they? Like, it hit the top 8 coin on the coin market cap just behind Uniswap. Just does not make sense that they would not list it at all.
Well, did you see that video that I posted? And it was like, will it be listed? That guy was saying that they have a non-disclosure agreement with Theta, Coinbase, to do it at some point. I mean, that's just some guy on the internet, but I was like, okay, I hope that's true.
Yeah, back last year in July, Coinbase did write an article about they were exploring additional 19 coins to list, and one of these coins on that list was Theta, but that was like July 2020, and they still haven't done anything about it. And they did have a list now that they were like they posted a week ago that they were looking to add additional 50 different coins, and one of them I saw on the list was Anchor, but there was no mention of Theta or Theta Fuel on that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I do believe it's going to be listed. It's like if it's a top 10 crypto, I mean, kind of like it doesn't make sense to not list it in my opinion. But
well, it's funny.
yeah.
Like I basically replaced all my Litecoin with Theta, and I just was reading how I replaced Litecoin as number 9, and now Theta's number 9.
Yeah, Litecoin already taken over Theta again, but who knows how long that's gonna stay like that though.
No, Theta overtook Litecoin and took its spot. So I was like, oh, good. I'm glad I liquidated my Litecoin because I think Theta has way more room.
Yeah. So yeah, but Theta is back on their Litecoin now again with its correction. I mean, it's kind of good because Theta's just been going parabolic, like insane nonstop, just pumping and pumping. So at some point we'd have to see a healthy correction because it can't just go up like that forever.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Litecoin's going to do well. I mean, there was videos talking about how it has, the number 1,000 for potential, 1,000 USD. I just, I just feel like Theta has more room, and I just took a risk, and I was like, well, screw it. I still use Litecoin all the time to transfer because I think it's a pretty quick, cheap blockchain
Yeah,
transfer.
it's a better fork
Yeah, I think.
for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I should
better in my
hold. I
opinion.
just like I can't hold everything. I'm just like got really, the Theta thing. I got really bullish on it. I just went insane.
Yeah,
So
I don't hold personally any Litecoin, but yeah, I see it going up. Like unless the bull market would end, but I just don't understand or see the bull market ending now anytime soon. We're seeing that so much Bitcoin has been taking off the exchange now. Yeah.
yep.
Sorry, I got a cold. We're seeing so many, yeah, Bitcoins just being withdrawn from the exchanges, like all over the whales. They're just locking away all the whales are locking away all their Bitcoins and just buying it all up. And you're seeing all these noobs or weekend just selling, panic selling. So I don't understand how
Yeah.
it's still dipping so much. Like it's constantly like going back from
You're talking
like
about Litecoin, right? Is it?
55K and back up and down, up and down, up and down. But I guess it's
Adrian,
self-correction though. Yeah.
were you vaccinated before the Zoom call?
No, bro, I just got a cold.
Yeah, that's what you say now.
Yeah, I ain't getting no fucking vaccine. You know, I was super drunk last weekend and I slept on the floor of in my underwear and it's kind of cold, so I will go for cold.
Hey, Adrian, did you hear?
Likely excuse.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say, did you hear that the state of New Jersey in America just passed a law that said employers could fire their employees if they didn't get the vaccine?
Oh wait, where? Where in America?
In the
Which
state
state?
where my brother lives, New Jersey.
The
I
biggest
heard
shithole
that.
in this country.
Yep, pretty much.
Wait, are they literally gonna get that through the courts though?
They already did, right, John? Didn't I send you that article? I sent it to somebody in here. I'll see if I can find it. It's 100% true. I mean, the governor, like we just listen to guys because their names are governors now. That's how fluorinated everybody is.
You fucking joking? Well, I would quit. Like, if my job even told me to, I had to wear a mask, I'd quit. Like, fuck that shit. I'm not gonna bow down. I'd find another way to make money if that's the case.
I mean, they're supposed to make reasonable accommodations, but they have so much leeway to just fuck with people. It's just another way to attack people, you know.
Exactly. It's just
But
all it
yeah,
is.
I think the stimulus money really isn't there yet, and maybe the alts are due for more before Bitcoin resumes. But I mean, I think Bitcoin's still gonna. I mean, I think everything's moving up. It's just like it's like Pokemon. You can't collect them all.
Yeah, it's been a
At least
weird
the ones we
month
talk
this
about.
March.
There's thousands of them. We're not talking about Floyd Mayweather's coin, or maybe it would be. He's an NFT now. Who knows? But I just made the Floyd coin because I guess that was a scam. He got sued or something by the. It was just a Ponzi scheme. But they pump and basically him and his buddy said, "Hey, we got a coin." They put in some money. Everyone got in and they just pumped it and dumped it on them. Quickest way to make a buck, huh, guys?
Um, but anyway, in March, I've heard it's a super bad month or a bearish month for Bitcoin in general. Like it's always been through history, it just been a bearish month. Bitcoin usually always tends to go down in
Well,
March for some reason.
let's take a look at the month. So we have here's March 24th. Here's
I'm
March
gonna mute
1st.
myself.
Want to start on March 1st? Here. So basically, what I see is, at least in this time frame, this is a bullish pattern. We had strong conviction. This is a bullish engulfing pattern. It took out 1, 2, 3 days, and even so, when it hit this intermediate time frame energy, all we did was consolidate, pull down a little bit, and then break through with strong conviction. So the sustained momentum by the time it got up here was just done. And now, instead of going back down here deeper, it's consolidating up here. And yeah, this was a strong recent sell-off, and because it was so strong, I wasn't thinking an up day on these days. I said sideways, because in the short term, it just doesn't have it's just the momentum is just against us. But this is overall for an investor and with enough time for this to play out, because eventually this is going to have a breakout upside. And then when we get up here again, it's not going to have good resistance. We might just break out. We might get to like 70,000 or something. But who knows? That's just one scenario I'm just envisioning based on this price structure. But overall, until this pattern's broken, this is extremely bullish for this month. I mean, that's what's so cool about the TA and the price is that you can't lie. It's like you could read somebody's white paper, they could rug pull you. Oop, not this one. I just want to circle it. Brush. Maybe it's here. Oh well, I just wanted to circle this. Usually there's a brush I can find. Let's see. Oh, that doesn't matter. I'll put a balloon on it. Boom. This trend pattern. Oops. Where that comment is where it starts. You know, this is March. I mean, right, Adrian? I mean, you see that, right? A trend up energy and then a correction, a rest, ready for the next leg up. Wouldn't you say that's the pattern for March? Uh-oh. Was it something I said? Just kidding. Oh, he's muted. Okay, no worries, man. Maybe if you're talking, you're muted. I was just asking. I mean, that's just the beauty in the charts, right? Let's see what else. What else? This is for Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, now that we've had a couple of days, like I'm more thinking, you know, the longer we consolidate sideways, right? Because all balances start from trends, and all trends start from balances. So in the short term, we had bounce, bounce, narrow range day. The narrower the range days we get, the greater the odds that we get an expansion day that holds to the downside, bearish engulfing pattern. We can go sideways, sideways, maybe sideways, and then we get a break, you know, whatever. I don't know how many days we'll go sideways until we'll get a sideways up or just an up. It's impossible to know the future, really. Even if you remote view this, things change so quick that probabilities shift moment by moment. So you might as well just look at the market context anyway. But once you get super deep with this and you're putting in like a lot of different factors, I put in, besides this quaternity, I fractal layers on odds when I stack them with the same rating system, but I actually have factors for intuition. Like I say, how do I feel about being long? Give it a rating. How do I feel about being short? Because we're emotional and that vibration does help. So but I just don't trust it all the way. You can't trade because the market's counterintuitive, so you can't use it all. And you have to have once you have enough repetition of this, then your unconscious gets the intuition. Right now, if you try to trade this on intuition, you trade it intuitively instead of counterintuitively, and it'd be really tough. But once you see these patterns and how to read the market contextually like a hologram, it becomes a lot more pure and it can help you on your reloads. So I think Bitcoin's in an exciting position because it's even held this and this pattern's in play. And the longer on the short time frame, I'm neutral. On let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. On the intermediate time frame, I'm kind of like neutral to neutral bearish because as we're coming up in this, there could be problems. But on, let's just say the relevant larger time frame, I'm fractaling it down. I mean, this is a large time frame, that's large time. But on this larger time frame, we're bullish. So I got to give that one the higher weight. And we did break this and creep up. A good rest here would be nice. Hopefully we'll get a nice rest. And if we do break from this, remember all trends start from bounces and all bounces start from trends. Let's just borrow this fraternity. Let's just say we broke from this range because there's blue sky above. And it always actually goes higher than this, but I just use this as like a little conservative tool to help me get this far. But usually when we break from a mature balance, this is definitely a mature balance is like at least 2-3 days for a day trader, but this is like 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. It usually goes 100% of the range because on the basic principle that when people double their money, they usually just cash out or whatever. And then there's some selling. And once you break from this, that could be a target. And then that's how we get to 70s, which is like Max Wright was talking about it. But instead of like talking about the fundamentals or who's coming into it, which is cool. I like learning about that. You just see the patterns and you're like, you know, it's coming because the structure doesn't lie. So the technicals balance all of them out and they all kind of can come together if you want to have a holistic strategy, but I don't need any of it. Just I'm basically a chartist, so you can look at the charts and see this and see it. So this is how I see us getting there. And so, you know, but so the time frame alignment and bias changes. Once we break this, we're off time frame alignment because intermediate time frame, which is now like neutral, We came down here, it's like neutral, it'll be neutral bearish if we go lower and bearish if we break, but this is neutral at best now. But once we break this, the intermediate, which is this is now a balanced breakout pattern that's up, so it's bullish. And then the short term becomes bullish because you just had a breakout. And then this is the, you know, the bigger pattern energy, or even this one fractally, and then that gets into place. And you have a thing called time frame alignment. And that's when you can have, that's the start of like, see how big bounce and then compress sideways, tiny breakout. Then it's like, oh shit, sideways. And then it just starts to just get parabolic. And that's what we can have the longer we break. Because this might be the bounce that fractally we're really breaking from on a swing time frame. I just gave you like more of a shorter time frame target, but this could be kind of thought of as a bounce we're breaking from. I'm just this is a bounce I was thinking of for this. I just want to see how well this would match. Let's just say I clone this because that 100% rule, just see how well it works. I mean, there's no perfect in this, but I would put it on the range highs here. So, I mean, not perfect, but close enough where, let's just say you had 100% range extension. You're like, I'm all out. You would have been a boss because you wouldn't have to sit with that tiny shit. And then you're like, oh, I don't care. Fault's big, you know, like, oh man, I missed it. Boom. No fault. Because you know you're at 100% range extension. It increases the odds. You're so extended. You don't have sustained momentum. That's this category on your side because you're exhausted. This you're thinking, oh, because it's at 100% in the range, you don't trust it. At the very least, you're neutral the next day. After a trend day, you're thinking sideways. But really, because you're thinking there's good odds for a false breakdown, false breakout pattern. And that's exactly what happened. False breakout pattern. But it came down. It's super bullish because it held here in the context of this trend. Let's put a fib ratio there. Put a fib ratio here, and at the very least, this from here to here, it snapped back to like a 0.5, or like, you know, or at least it hit 0.382, and it'll even better, closer to 0.5, but it didn't even penetrate 0.5. You're not thinking it's going to go to 0.618 until that does happen. Look, you have moving average confluence and these pause days and a hook from extremes. You're not thinking it's going to go down much more. So I think this has been a pretty good month for March. And, you know, considering how steep this is, I mean, yeah, everyone wanted this to happen, and then we creep up here and then get it. But this pattern is probably going to be like boom, boom, boom. We creeped a little higher, false breakdown pattern. So this wasn't the breakout we wanted here. At this point in time, what you're thinking is, okay, false breakdown pattern. We're going to just expand the range. Like you're thinking, okay, it's just going to consolidate more. This is not the breakout yet. And that's kind of what's happening, but it's because it's fractaling above this energy zone. That's actually neutral bullish on that. And you know, hey, I might make a sideways up call tomorrow. We'll see. I didn't have the energy to trade today because I did when I trade theta. Usually, I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep 0 hours last night trading, and only 3 hours the night before. Because when you start making a lot of money, this is the psychology part. You go into like a manic phase where you can't sleep, so you have to really take care of yourself. You know, I was hospitalized 4 times a week before. You know, my health's number one, so I just took the day off and basically go back to the beauty of the patterns and just hang out with you guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up right now. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna unmute the mics.
Yeah, man. So like in a month time, where do you see like Bitcoin going if you're able to see in
Okay.
such long times?
Well, based on this context that I showed you how we can get to 70, so that's basically all I'm kind of focused on. So you know, and then you take it in strides. But I mean, yeah, I think we're going to break $100,000 this year really soon, sooner than we think.
Yeah. Hey, do you think any you know, with Tesla announcing you can now buy the Tesla cars with Bitcoin?
Oh God, thank
like
God.
that
It's amazing.
like that
Yeah.
that pumped the price so quick, but again, people just dumped straight after the pump.
Well,
Like
here's the thing, like, you know, let things take time. Like all of a sudden, just because it's in a paper, you think every single Tesla outfit in the world has a Bitcoin ATM ready to, and everyone comes with Bitcoin. I mean, you know, I think things need a little bit more time, you know, to take off. A lot of people didn't get the stimulus checks in the States. Not every state has the same. I mean, this is a huge prison camp. We're one of the biggest prison camps in the world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
we
So
can
what
stop even
what
using
are
that
you doing with
because we're
your
creating.
Simi?
I'm not even going to give them that. We're creating our own. Basically, you can not create joinder with them, and cryptocurrency is our freedom ticket out of
Exactly.
here. Reality we want.
Yeah, I'm gonna write my resignation today from work and fucking already just quit. Like I couldn't be
Yeah, dude,
bothered
that's right.
wasting my time. Like seriously, I'm making 25 Australian dollars before tax an hour sitting and serving some drinks behind a bar and walking around
Exactly.
spraying and wiping table, and I could be home making more money just investing some already.
Yeah, if you guys learned how to do income producing trades, you could hold your shit you're doing now and just like slowly replace your jobs that if you don't like them. And if you like this, not everyone likes this shit, and this is
Yeah,
definitely
no,
not a scalping strategy. So I'm not going to hit every little thing.
exactly. No, I just so yeah, it's gonna be nice quitting already.
Yeah. So a lot of principles here. I mean, little fractal breakouts, 100% ranging principles, Fibonacci's. But you see, like the Fibonacci ratio. See, that's pure because that's God's code, and it doesn't lie. It's not nothing's perfect, so you have to balance the odds, and you have to be okay with losses because there's just randomness. But at least you're not gonna get rug pulled if you're day trading because you're setting stop loss.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, actually, no, this is not to spread any panic or any FUD or anything, but I was speaking to one of the first guys in Theta, and he told me he sold all his bags of Theta. He had
I
like millions of
probably
free
bought him.
fuel.
Tell him thank you.
Huh?
No, I'm just kidding. I said I
No, no,
probably
sorry.
bought his bags. So I'm telling him thanks.
Yeah, yeah, no, he had like I think close to a million Theta as well
Oh
or
my
something.
God. Well, yeah. Why not? He made his money. He did his legs.
Yeah, he said he already bought it like at 4 cents data and penny T fuel. He already made 250x, but he did say
Oh my
something
God.
about that he was showed something incriminating about data. This George, no, Corey or whatever, the real OG of data had showed him something incriminating or something. So, but he didn't go into details. He would tell me on the weekend or something. So I was like, what the fuck? But I mean, like every single business out there has got
Did it
something
drive the price
incriminating
down
on
or
them.
something, or would that have? What did they say? They didn't really go into it.
No, he said he'd talk later. Like, have you heard about Corey?
I no, I basically because I look at the charts, I really kind of don't. I take in a lot of data this way. So if I try to take
Yeah.
in too much data, I start to go to the hospital and stuff.
Oh
I'm
shit,
just
yeah.
kidding,
But
kidding.
anyway, yeah,
I take
Corey
it.
was the owner of the previous like Theta Telegram chat before it was shut down. He was like the OG of the OGs in Theta, and he had like millions of Theta and like no joke. He's on the he's like on the
He calls me. I'm gonna go slit his throat. I have this on record. So just kidding.
yeah.
I'm gonna fucking.
Yeah, no. So I'm just like, yeah, but he told me to get into like coins like Anchor, and he said that get into Teslas as well because Teslas is gonna fly. Because this Corey is basically an executive on data on the Teslas board or something.
So I mean, do you think this guy's credible? I mean, was it enough for you to reduce your theta? Because I mean, it's. I just went.
No, I didn't
I
sell.
keep going more and more every chance I get. So I'm kind of like, oh shit, I hope I'm not fucking up, but whatever. I think it's gonna go.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I know. Like I think it's gonna go like insanely parabolic. But I'm just saying, like it made me rethink. I just don't want to be on too much euphoria and just seeing my portfolio just going up and never selling because like that goes against my principles and as well because you just don't want to take so much risk. You always want to take some profits and then put it into safe assets or stable assets like silver, for example, or gold, and also just reinvest into other projects because you just like I got in at data at like 30 cents. I've already made a lot of profits there. So yeah, no, but I've already been thinking of taking profits. I was about to take profits when I woke up today, but then I freaking see data having a kind of not huge correction, but like going down to like 11.30. So yeah, I'll wait with my taking profits, but I'll still keep a huge bunch of my data left.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
talk to him and see. I'll talk to him later and see what kind of stuff he's talking about. So
Yeah, I just gotta go with my guts and do what I gotta do and can't
yeah,
really rumors. I've always been
but
against a lot of these things that say like Bitcoin, like that V sideways thing. And somebody in the channel said some guy said Bitcoin had to go to 6,000. I said, hey, that's an idea I bet against. Look at the structure. And then the guy was like, well, this
mm,
guy's a fucking genius. I'm like, well, everyone can be wrong. Like, try to be a day trader. You better get good at it, being wrong and just bouncing back. But
yeah,
he was wrong. Did Bitcoin go to
oh
6?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like everyone can say shit.
you
Like
make more than you're wrong.
because yeah, because I know for sure that Data's gonna just rock your socks off.
It's going to go to 10
Uh,
times in 5 years. I think it's the future. But that I basically I'm betting on that story. But I'm also betting on silver a little bit. But
yeah,
I just
like
I'm
I was
all,
thinking of
I'm all,
like getting probably $50,000 of silver and just so I'm just safe and secure and don't have to think about silver more.
yeah. I mean,
Hey,
maybe. I mean, you definitely don't want to hold the fiat. But
no, fuck that. Fuck that. You see now Data's just about to hit $12. Like it had a dip and everything, but like what it could be is like a dead cat bounce, just a false breakout and just drop down more, consolidate a little bit more. That's what usually tends to happen, right?
well, I until it happens, we don't know. I mean, like right now on this weekly chart, this is really good. I mean, it's healthy, it's bullish. We didn't get a week that
Yeah.
closed like this that was giving you a heads up, like, hey, like this is a serious down week. The bias in the short term's changed. We have a larger correction head, so it's hard. Like I don't have a prediction model. It's probabilities. Right here,
Mm,
I'm just not in. I'm not interested in. I'm like taking exits here or holding runners because I got in here. I'm relaxing here because I don't care. I'm not trying to be the hero that calls the tops. But once I get
yeah.
the confirmation, then the probabilities change, and now I can make sideways down calls, stay out of the market because I don't want to short. Look for the bottom, but not getting fading and taking needless losses because these weeks are down. This keep in mind we wouldn't be trading on this time frame. I'm just using this as an example. But
Mm,
like I said, it's all depends on the context. But here we are, and this isn't really a sharp sell-off. I mean, it's until that happens, I'm still super bullish, and even in the intermediate and short term. I mean, we could have something where it breaks out, and maybe the next day we kind of spinning top, and it just starts going sideways up here to the right, which is still actually bullish because it's getting ready for another leg up. But I don't know. I'm not. I can't predict it. If next
no.
the candle's like this big red candle and it takes out this low, then it brings this low into question, and like, okay, that was a bearish engulfing pattern. The short-term bias is shifted. We could have a larger correction to the downside.
Yeah. No, to me, I'm actually kind of happy that like for example Theta has pulled back a little bit. Because I'm also happy like for my dad because he was gonna buy more if it pulled back. So now he gets his chance, and other people as well. We get to shake out weekends,
Yeah,
especially at the run up to the mainnet launch. And the mainnet launch has been postponed now a little bit as well for 2 months.
yeah. There's a lot of exciting things happening. They just got that patent. Um, Celebrities are on the horizon to advertise it.
Yeah. So yeah, but what do you think about like if when just too many people are getting in, like celebrities are all over it and everyone's just making millions here and there and it's just top of everything and just everything, everyone's in high
Sounds like it's
euphoria.
Amazon before Amazon happens, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like I want that hype. Hype is good if you get in early. Like,
Yeah,
nobody knows about it yet. Someone's got to advertise this to everybody so they can use it. Otherwise, we're gonna stay at
yeah,
13 bucks.
yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. Hopefully we'll get to see Bitcoin after March, maybe just start going upwards towards the 70s because like psychologically March usually like Bitcoin hasn't done bad really in March. It's held how many days above 50,000 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think every pullback, at least still in the short term, is a buying opportunity. I don't know. I mean, keep in mind I'm super freaking long in it, so I'm obviously super biased. But I mean, maybe it's like a pattern we're like maybe right now we pulled back to the moving average and we had that steeper correction. You're like, oh, I don't know if I should buy or not. You're just like, well, I don't know. But maybe you should, because like
Mm.
buyers are coming in, double bottom, they bought it up again, and then finally they broke out. Triple bottom. Boom. And that was a pretty mature balance. That's from March 10th to March 18th. Well, that's
Well, it's,
short term, it's okay.
that's only 8 days. That's only
Yeah.
8 days.
It is a mature balance for sure. And then, then we only bounce for 3 days. It's like things are getting, then we only bounce for a day and a half, and then we went kind of parabolic, and now we're getting the correction. This looks like a buying opportunity to me right now. We definitely had a sell off, but people that are like, yo, this thing got to 14.9, like, damn, 11.80. I'm gonna buy there. So I don't know if it's gonna go here or not. They probably don't know. You don't know, but I mean, this is turning into looking like a tail here on the 4-hour candle. We have a pattern here called the zero line reject, which is a counter directional reversal pattern. And if you don't, just dollar cost average, it's like, okay, well, if you're holding for the long term, you're not going to care like, oh, I got in at 11.7 instead of 10. Because what if it gets to $888 by the end of the year, like some are predicting, based on institutional capital and what it's done in the past? Like, I don't really trade that way, because if you break it down short term, you don't have to think so far ahead, because you can kind of ride the trend. But for the long term, the idea behind the technology is really what sold me on it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, guys, it's getting to about that time, 5:27. I appreciate everyone for coming on the call at 8 o'clock. I mean, 8 o'clock, 8 people on the call. So that's sweet, guys.
Yeah, where's Miro today?
We talked for a while yesterday. I think he's just super. He had some tooth surgery, so he's like always in and out of consciousness, man. He was tired.
Yeah, I get that though. I get it.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, I appreciate the call today.
Yeah, man.
Some nice
Hey,
info.
Yeah, Victor, Sean, Sabril, John, Edgar, Adam, Adrian. Yeah, this is actually the first call that I've ever recorded too. So if you 8 or however many people on the call, I guess I'm the 8th one. So you 7 guys want it, just send me a PM and I'll just send it to you privately, because I think that rating system can help you, and can help you get in and out. And for the guys that came in late, you can see kind of how I drew. So
Yeah.
all right, guys, I'll see you guys in the room.
All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
All
Thanks,
right,
Matt.
Matt,
Yeah,
thanks for the
All
call.
right. Thanks, man.
Peace,
Thank
buddies.
you.
Thanks, Matt.
See you.